So when you think about the magic in Middle-earth, what comes to mind? Wizards, right? Ancient evils, a certain all-powerful ring. But what if I told you the deepest magic, the one that makes that world feel so solid you could almost touch it, isn't in a spellbook? Nope, it's in the words themselves. Let's dig into that. Okay, so let's just ask the big question right up front. If you wanted to create a world completely from scratch, a world with thousands of years of history, with all these different cultures, and a real tangible sense of place, where would you even begin?
Well, for J.R.R. Tolkien, the answer was simple, but also incredibly profound. You don't start with a map. You don't even start with a character. You start with a word. Because in his world, language isn't just used for describing reality, it's for creating it.
And this quote right here, it just nails his whole method. You got to remember, Tolkien was a philologist, a master scholar of language. He knew better than anyone that the right words could build a world more convincing than any special effect could today. And we can see exactly how he did it, by following the journey of one very small hobbit. Our parable begins where all the best adventures really start, at home. For Bilbo Baggins, that home is the Shire. But here's the thing. The Shire isn't just defined by its borders or its round doors, it's defined by its vocabulary. The Shire feels so real and so safe because of what you might call its domestic lexicon. I mean, just think about the words that define the place. Pantry, garden, armchair, hearth. These aren't just objects, you know? They're like the cultural pillars of Hobbit society. They're words that just radiate warmth, stability, and a quiet life. They ground us and Bilbo in this feeling of deep, unshakable peace. When you put them side by side like this, it's so clear. Bilbo's journey isn't just across a map, it's a journey from one vocabulary to a totally different one. He leaves the world of comfort and enters a world defined by these harsh, guttural sounds like goblin and warg. He is literally stepping out of his own language and into another, far more dangerous one. Okay, so picture this. Bilbo's deep under the mountains, stripped of every comfort he's ever known. And this is where he faces his first true test. But it's not a battle of swords. It's a battle of wits. A duel fought entirely with words, where language is sacred, binding, and a matter of life and death. His opponent's name, Gollum, is just pure phonetic genius. It's not really a name, is it? It's a sound effect. It's that wet, gulping noise he makes in the back of his throat. Tolkien makes us feel the clammy, subterranean decay of this character before he even speaks a full sentence. He's phonetically tied him to his dark, wet cave. And Gollum's riddles, they're basically a window into his soul. They're all ancient, dark, and elemental. They're about mountains and wind and time. His language is tied to his bleak, hollow history, a world with no sun and no comfort. And by the way, the answer is a mountain. But Bilbo's response is just brilliant. It's not some ancient riddle. It's simple, it's direct, and it totally breaks the rules of their game. This is the exact moment Bilbo learns a new language, the language of wit and cleverness, and it becomes his #1 tool for survival. And then, of course, there's the word precious. Repeated over and over, it becomes this hypnotic, creepy chant. It's not just a descriptor, it's a linguistic signal of the ring's deep, corruptive power. It's a one-word summary of Gollum's entire tragedy. So, having survived the darkness down below, Bilbo now faces a totally new kind of threat. The danger is no longer a creature in a cave. It's an idea. It's a sickness that infects the heart. And once again, it's all defined by language. The key idea here is dragon sickness. This is way more than just greed. It's a linguistic symbol for an all-consuming avarice, so powerful it turns friends into enemies. And just like that, the conflict shifts. It goes from being about physical survival to a moral one, all centered on the Arkenstone. The enemy is no longer a monster, but a corruption of character itself, a really sophisticated threat to loyalty and wisdom. So you see how this journey just completely transforms Bilbo, right? We can track his entire character arc through these linguistic challenges. He goes from being a creature of comfort, defined by the simple words of home, to being a burglar who has to learn a new, more dangerous vocabulary. By mastering the language of riddles and wit, he discovers a new sense of himself, and eventually, he learns the language of leadership and moral courage. And all of this brings us to the moral climax of the entire story. It happens back in that dark cave with Gollum, where Bilbo holds all the power. And, believe it or not, the most significant linguistic act of his entire journey is one of complete silence. I mean, the contrast is just so stark. The language of his enemies is ancient, predatory, and harsh. But Bilbo's true power, the thing that really sets him apart, isn't loud or aggressive. It's found in quiet cleverness, in wit, and ultimately, in mercy. With Gollum totally helpless, Bilbo has the chance to strike him down. But he doesn't. He understands Gollum's pathetic wretchedness, and this silent act of pity, this unspoken word, is his most profound linguistic decision. It's a choice that defines his entire character.
And this is exactly it. That moment of silent pity is what elevates Bilbo. It's not about being a great warrior or a master thief, it's about having a superior moral compass. And that one choice ends up changing the entire trajectory of Middle-earth's history.
So, as we wrap up this little parable, we can see that Bilbo's journey wasn't just to the Lonely Mountain and back again. It was a journey through language, from the simple lexicon of home to the complex grammar of what it means to be a hero.
And, of course, this incredible linguistic depth wasn't some happy accident. It was the deliberate craft of J.R.R. Tolkien, the master philologist, a man who understood that for a world to feel truly alive, it absolutely must have its roots in language. When you really see how all these layers work together, how the names carry so much weight, how the journey from small words to big ideas mirrors the hero's growth, and how vocabulary acts as this bridge to the story's magic, you realize how a simple adventure story gets transformed into this profound moral inquiry that still captivates us today. Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Tolkien showed us that words have the power to create reality, to shape morality, and to build worlds. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What kind of world are we all building right now with the words we choose to use every single day?